Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500, we're going to be checking out the B&W Patriot 16K fifth wheel hitch. So when it comes to picking out a fifth wheel hitch, it's an important decision, because you're going to want something that is well built, easy to use, so on and so forth. And for anything heavy duty, towing wise, B&W is something that you really cannot go wrong with. They're one of my favorites out there, usually my go-to be honest. And if you're familiar at all with the towing world, chances are pretty good you've probably heard of that B&W name. And there's a reason for it, because they make good stuff. But with that said, this is going to be a fixed style hitch, meaning you're not going to be able to slide it or anything along those lines. And it's going to work with the industry standard rails, which are really common across the board. So whether you have B&W rails like we do, Curt, Reese, all the different manufacturers, chances are really good, as long as they're the industry standard, that this hitch will drop into the rails. You can pin it down and be able to hook up to your trailer. I mentioned that this is a fixed type hitch, and then there's other ones that slide. And if you're trying to figure out which one that you're going to need for your truck, the main thing is going to be your bed length, or the most common at least. For those of you that have a long bed, chances are really good you can get away with using a fixed style hitch like this one. For those of you that have a short bed, like we do, ideally you would want a sliding type hitch. So reason being, with the short beds, this is mounted up closer, and if you go to make tight turns, a lot of times it can happen if your trailer overhangs, you can make contact with the cab corner and the corner of your trailer, and something you definitely want to avoid, right? So that's where that sliding hitch would come into play. It would, when you go to make that tight turn, it would slide back, giving you that extra space that you need. And then there's scenarios like we have here today. We have a short bed, but a fixed hitch. And the reason that he can get away with that is because on his camper, he has a rotating type pin box, all right, like a Reese Sidewinder, for example, which this hitch is going to be compatible with the vast majority of those types of pin boxes out there. So by using, having a fixed hitch, you have a rotating style pin box, that lets you use this style in a short bed, because the pin box will rotate and give you the clearance as opposed to the hitch being able to slide back. This is going to have a 16,000 pound gross trailer weight rating. So that's how much it's going to be able to handle, with the trailer pulling on it. It's the weight of your trailer plus anything you might have in or on it. I do always like to recommend, though, always a good idea to grab your truck's owner's manual, check in there and make sure it can handle that amount of weight safely. And I kind of like the 16K, to be honest with you. If you don't need anything more than that, with the 16K, it seems like it's a little bit lighter than some of the more heavy-duty ones. B&Ws, they go up pretty high. And so it was a lot easier to maneuver around. When I was installing the rails and putting this in here, I had to lift the base up a few times and move it around and everything. It was a lot more manageable. So that's my thought, at least. And that kind of brings me to my next point. For those of you that tow a lot or don't really care, you'd rather just leave this in here and call it a day, right? So you don't have to bother with it. What a lot of people do is look into a tonneau cover, right? To cover everything up, keep it out of sight, keep the weather off of it, and a little more secure. And right now, I have the hitch, or the head, I'm sorry, in the middle, because this is adjustable. So I'm right here in the middle, and just kind of eyeballing everything. We're still quite a bit of ways under from the top of our rails. So I think it would be safe to say the vast majority of the tonneau covers out there, if you were to put it on this truck, would more than likely clear without really giving you too many issues. As far as what you are able to adjust, you can adjust these either up or down and front to back. So a good example today, I have these all the way back as far as they can go to give us maximum clearance, and then just put these right in the middle as far as the height goes. It's usually a safe bet, at least a good place to start. And the height, it's really just going to depend on your truck and trailer setup, you know, but having that adjustability, you can really dial it in. That'll make it easier to hook up, and it'll just pull better whenever you're towing your trailer down the road. The jaw mechanism, where your kingpin's going to go into, you'll have full 360-degree contact, and the jaws are super thick steel, so it gives you some peace of mind there, knowing you have a solid connection point. The handle mechanism, just like with all B&W products, super smooth to operate, you know, easy to figure out and things like that. And the head is going to articulate a little bit, so that'll make it easier to hook up to your trailer, and I feel like it's a little more forgiving when you're going down the road. You know, it might help with some of that noise and chucking and things like that, if I had to guess. And the head is detachable too, so doing it like this, it makes it easier to put the hitch in or take it out. You know, you kind of split the weight up a little bit there, and that's where it's going to ride on these bushings, which will definitely help absorb some of that road shock and noise as well. When it comes down to it, if you're looking for a fifth wheel hitch, a B&W is one you really cannot go wrong with. You know, they're just extremely well built, and they last a long time. There's been people out there using hitches, B&W hitches similar to this, for years, and still working just fine, holding up great. So can't really ask for too much more, but with that said, I think that'll about do it for our look at of the B&W Patriot 16K fifth wheel trailer hitch on our 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 1500.